It was
Definitely.
so important.
Huge step, huge accomplishment.
Yeah, it was.
Getting married. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, you got a huge accomplishment too, as the
Yes.
viewers want to hear.
Yeah.
So this is Tatiana. For anybody, this is my good friend. We've talked for a while now, but we've known each other for like 4 years.
I want to say, yeah.
Somewhere around
3
there.
to 4 years.
Yeah, and we
Yes.
met through pre-soma.
Pre-soma. Yes, I
Yeah.
reached out to you because I wanted to start a club at Georgia State.
Yep.
And I was looking for, some guidance, and I found you. I think I sent a message to the Instagram account, and you responded, and then we connected.
Yeah, that was kind of the easiest way to do it, right?
Yes.
Back then. And there weren't that many chapters. It was you in Georgia State, Kennesaw State, where I started like that first.
Yeah, I don't know if
semester.
UGA has one. I'm not sure.
We connected with, I think, Georgia Tech.
Yes, we did.
A few of them,
yes,
right? And
yes.
I think there was one more, maybe not, but
I only remember Georgia Tech.
Yeah. So they were pretty good.
Yes.
But overall, so anyways, Tatiana, that's how we met in the first place, and then from there we just kind of hit it off with. I kind of like the vibe that you brought. Like, I think that was a big part is the admiration of like from hearing your story, so that's why I'm glad that you came on just to kind of talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so if anybody's tuning in, we're really just trying to help people understand where this is coming from. So for everybody who's listening, we are pretty much trying to share Tatiana's story. She comes from Puerto Rico. I'll let her explain more about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's pretty much here to talk about how she got into medical school. And I've seen her through this whole process, and it's been crazy. Right? It's been so crazy. But when you got that acceptance call, and you called me or you texted me,
yes,
I was ecstatic about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, me and Savannah were
Don't
hyped.
make me cry here.
There you go. I'll get you some tissues. Don't worry.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about yourself, like just for the audience to kind of know, what your perspective is.
Sure. So just like you said, I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I never thought I would come to the United States. I was this person that I was very proud to be Puerto Rican. I still am. Don't get me wrong. I still am. But I always thought that I was going to get my education there and work there. Unfortunately, things didn't turn out that way. Hurricane Maria in 2017 changed the whole situation for me. At that time, I just changed my major to biology. I was a nutrition major before. And before that, I even did 3 semesters at another college, and I dropped out because I was doing really bad academically. And I didn't have a goal. I was just going to college because that's what you do after you graduate high school, But then after I took some time off and thought about what I wanted to do, I was like, Tatiana, I know you can do more than just working a regular part-time job at an secular job, And that's when I decided to go back to college. And when I was a nutrition major, I took a human anatomy class, and that changed my mind. I wanted to know more about the human body, and that's where I realized that I could become a doctor. I didn't even know that was an option for me. I was that ignorant, and not in a bad way. My parents, they don't have any college degree. My mom works for Walmart. She's been working for Walmart about 25 years.
Right.
My dad, he used to have his own business, but it didn't thrive. So he ended up working another 2 part-time jobs somewhere else, in any convenience store or something like that. So I didn't have that example to follow, and I didn't know what steps you needed to take to get to graduate school. I didn't even know graduate school existed. It was to that point. But when I realized that I was already kind of on the path, I just needed to finish my undergrad. I was like, okay, then let me just change my major to biology, because I thought that major was gonna give me more exposure to the knowledge that I needed to have to be successful in medical school. And that's where I come from. But then I moved to Georgia after the Hurricane Maria, like I was telling you. Hurricane Maria devastated Puerto Rico. We didn't have power for months. We didn't have water. To get gas, to get gasoline, you have to make, a 3-hour line. And then you have to get gas every 3 to 4 days to power your generator.
Wow.
So it was very tough. And I was living in that, and I still have my job. I was able to go to school, but the school didn't have air conditioning, so it was really hot. Puerto Rico is very hot. We always have in mind that we wanna leave our next generation, leave them in a better place or in a better situation. There is this thing called generational wealth, And that's what I think we're trying to create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard, right? I mean,
It is.
Puerto Rico on its own is already kind of undermanaged, right? Like
Yes.
it's poverty, it lies there, but that's kind of where people don't understand, right?
Yes.
Until you're in that situation.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I think it's like important for people to understand. It's like it's not that easy just to come down here, you know,
It's
to
It's
America
not,
and call it,
definitely.
call it a day.
The lifestyle is just very different. The infrastructure, like the buildings, the roads, the houses, the people, everything is so different, you know. Like in Puerto Rico is so small. If you go to a grocery store, you could get to like run into your teacher or another student or somebody. Here you get to see everybody, like someone new every day.
Yep.
So that was a cultural shock for me, definitely.
What were some other cultural shocks when you moved here? Like that's one thing that I can also relate to, but what else did you see?
The language, for sure. I knew English before. I used to live in Puerto Rico. I used to live in the metropolitan area. So a lot of tourists used to come, and I was a server and a bartender over there. So I needed to use my English a lot. And I was really I had a pretty good English. But when I came here to study, just to give you an example, just saying 2 times 2, the word times, I didn't know how to like translate that from Spanish to English, because in Spanish, like the literal translation, it'll be 4, because you say dos por dos.
Okay.
And por is kind of like 4, and you don't say 2 for 2 or 2 by 2. Like, no, it's 2 times 2. So the little things like that will get me like stuck, or like I will have to dedicate more time in like finding my answers than any other regular student that was here since, you know, born and raised in the United States.
Right.
So that was a challenge. The academic load, it was totally different. The way the exams were given as well, the structure of the exams were very different. In Puerto Rico was mostly like multiple choice. Here it was more like questions and just answer the question, you know. And
free response.
Free response, yes. I have multiple choice exams too, but they were very rare. And then the university itself, Georgia State University, you know, it's like integrated in the whole downtown area.
Yep.
I come from Puerto Rico, or, you know, it's a little, my university was, I don't even know how to compare. Do you know Oglethorpe?
Yeah, I went to Oglethorpe.
Oh, something
for
like that.
semester.
Very small, you know. So coming here to Georgia State, it was like, wow, what is this? Am I gonna get lost in here?
Yeah.
But I enjoy it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of resources that I didn't have in Puerto Rico, like performing my own experiments in the organic chemistry lab. I took organic chemistry in Puerto Rico, and the way the lab work was, the professor would do the experiment, and you would have to just sit there, watch, like observe, take notes, and from that you would do the exam. But here it was more hands-on, and I really loved that.
And you get more, it's because of the supplies, right? The money is there to do it, but the money isn't there in other places.
Puerto Rico. And maybe it gets to Puerto Rico, but politicians in Puerto Rico are not the best. I think they get a lot of money into their pockets. Yeah. And, you know.
Well, politics in general it's a tough it's a tough crowd.
Yes.
They like to say. No matter where you go, politics will always ruin, you know, what you need to do.
But Puerto Rico has so much potential, you know, and I think at the end of the day we're just harming our own people, and that's sad. It's just sad.
But yeah, no, I think that's huge. Is like understanding really like the resources is such a huge part.
Yes.
Coming to America is very different than coming to any other, or living in any other country. You know?
I see here, right now I work for a school. It's an online school, but I've seen that middle school students and high school students, they get so much exposure to things they're interested in. Let's say, for example, if they're interested in medicine, I've seen that they take them to hospitals to do some like small rotations, and they expose them at a very young age to these things. In Puerto Rico, that doesn't happen, you know?
Right.
So it's like all these advantages and these resources these people have, I don't think they realize how blessed they are.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah. And I know some people do, but it's just coming here was definitely, it made me feel more grateful, definitely.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's huge, right? Because when it comes to, you know, like gratefulness, you know, in America, it's very difficult. When you grow up in America, it's very different than when you are, you know, immigrating to America, right? Because Americans in general, we don't understand that we don't have the patience for it.
Okay.
We want it now.
No.
Just like Amazon Prime delivery. We want it now.
No.
You know?
Yes.
But because of your perspective, you understand that it takes time. You know?
Good things take time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's consistency.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned about like just life. You know, if you're consistent with it, eventually it'll come. It may take forever.
Just show up every day.
Exactly.
With the intention that you want to do.
Yeah. And so I like that part about it. But you bringing that back up at Georgia State, like that was the funniest thing, because you're right. Like it's in Atlanta, but like there were times when I was there too. I'd be walking across the street and I would be going to the science department, and then after the science department, if you pass it, you go into like the underground Atlanta at one point. And I had no idea that I was going to underground Atlanta.
Like, you make the wrong turn and oh my God, where am I?
You make the wrong turn. There's homeless people everywhere. There's crackheads everywhere.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. But it's interesting because within that campus, it's such a beautiful campus.
It is.
They really do make it the way you need it to be. You know? They make sure that people are out of there who don't need to be there. You know, it's just a safe environment for the most part.
It is. I don't have any bad experience to say at Georgia State University, honestly. I did see a lot of homeless people changing class to class. But, you know, I think that's everywhere.
Yeah. Wherever you go.
Yeah.
So. I saw it at Kennesaw too. Yes, it was a little bit different because it was a New York campus. But once you reach the outside, you know, like Ackworth area, whatever, you saw the same thing, you know. But a little bit different because you had to travel that way. But it's the same situation either way. And in Puerto Rico is a lot worse, I think, the homeless situation. Like here, you see them in the city. In Puerto Rico, you will see them everywhere. In the city, in the rural area, like everywhere, and it's really sad. But you know. Nobody knows what situation got them there. And exactly. It's so easy, right, to judge somebody. Like it's very, as humans, it's not just the you, me thing, it's anybody. You know, it's very easy for us to judge somebody, but that's what it is. It's so hard to not be able to do that. That's why it's like, that's one of the big things that like, I'm sure a lot of people try to do better is just trying to be able to not say anything. Just stay quiet. Just be understanding, I guess. Yes. Exactly. So yeah, it's rough, but what else can you do, right? It's reality. Exactly. So the one thing that I wanted to talk about with you was the medicine part, right? Like you went from nutritionist and then you pretty much took off some semesters. You took off from college, then you went back and you restarted and kind of got into medicine. How did you find out more about this is what I want to do? That anatomy class gave me the motivation to like look more information on how to become a doctor. And it gave me the motivation to also change my major. But also at that moment, I was experiencing my grandmother's Alzheimer's. We were going through that. She's still alive nowadays, thankfully. And she's in a very good situation overall, but besides the Alzheimer's. But we were going through that, and I saw how my family were struggling a lot because they knew that she was sick, but they didn't understand what that disease is. And they couldn't understand how could she, because at the moment she would still remember some things. So they didn't understand how could she remember some things, and at the next minute she was like totally gone. So it was very difficult for them to handle the situation. And I was like, that also inspired me to get into medicine and help families that are going through a similar situation, just help them understand what it is. And not only with that disease, with other disease. I just want to make sure that whichever situation a family is going through, it related to like sickness or something, they understand what it is and what it brings to the family, you know? Because there's one person sick, but there's a bunch of other people taking care of that person that is also gonna put a lot of pressure on them, and they need to know how to handle that for the best outcome of the patient, you know, and for their own emotional health, I think, as well. They need to understand what they're about to go through. Yeah, and so that's a great point, because I think that some people don't understand that from, again, a foreign perspective. You have to take care of your family, right? Like a lot of times here it's different, right? Everybody has a different situation. Not judge a book by its cover, but we see that where they send them off to a nursing home. Yes. But that's not only is that the last thing, that's not even an option for us. You know, I know that for you too, like that is not possible. So it's interesting to hear that because our families take on that pressure.
Yes.
Right.
My mom, she's been taking care of her mom, my grandmother, for about 10 years now. And she has her full-time job. She's still working at Walmart. You know, she's the breadwinner of the house. And she also goes and takes care of her mom. She goes every day to her house. It's not like they live together also. So she has to go and stop at her house, do whatever she's going to do, and then go to her house, do the cooking, whatever and whatnot, and get ready for the next day.
Yeah. And see, that's like, people don't understand that that's normal. They tell them, oh, that's too much pressure. You shouldn't be doing that. But it's family.
I tell her every time, and she's like, no, Tatiana, but I just cannot put her in a nursing home. She cannot handle it. Like emotionally, it's just not feasible for her.
But other than that, let's not go into the negativity. Let's talk about the positivity.
Yes.
But so with this, we were talking about your MCAT before we started this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And so your MCAT, now you took it 2 or 3 times?
I took it 2 times.
Okay, 2 times. Now the first time, what was going on?
So the first time, it was the first time.
It was the first time.
What can I say? Well, I thought I was ready. I was studying for about 6 months at that point, but I also was starting to work as a medical assistant. You remember?
I do. Yep.
So I was working part-time and I was taking 1 class, and I started doing only like 24 hours a week at the office.
Yep.
But then I started doing like 30, and it just became a full-time job. And my studying, I wasn't realistic with my studying. I thought that I was ready, and clearly I wasn't. I got a 492 on the first attempt. I was very nervous that day, but I don't know. The MCAT is complicated. There's nothing specific that I can say, just that I wasn't ready.
Yep. Yeah. And for anybody that's listening, the MCAT is basically a comprehensive test over it's science, verbal.
It goes over physics. It goes over organic chemistry, general chemistry. It goes over critical thinking, the CARS part. It goes over psychology, biology, molecular biology, biochemistry is a big one.
Yep.
And yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's the reason why it's so complicated.
Your whole undergrad, in one test.
Exactly. And see, that's the hardest part, right? Is people don't understand that's a difficult test.
It's a 7-hour test.
Right.
Too. It's not only about the content that you know, it's also about your ability on being in a computer for 7 hours straight and being able to concentrate for those whole 7 hours. So
and it becomes 8 hours, right? Like with breaks and everything too. Like at
I
some
think
point,
so.
When I took it too, it was like similar to that. I took all my breaks.
Yes.
So.
Oh, definitely. Me too.
So it's like it's rough, but overall. So then you took that. You kind of. I remember you texted me and it got a little rough, towards how you felt about it.
It did.
And I felt the same way because I was in the same boat. And then after that, where did you start from there again?
It was very difficult because I was hoping to get I was hoping just to at least get something close to the 500.
Yeah.
Because my goal wasn't to get a 510 or 515. That's something else you gotta put into perspective. I just wanted to break the 500 mark. Because I know that was gonna be enough for the schools that I was gonna apply to.
Right.
And after that, I still applied to PCOM, and I was hoping on hear back from them, but they didn't invite me. Of course, I'm here now.
Yeah.
But then I realized, Tatiana, you have to retake it. There's no way that you're gonna get in with this score. So I started studying again, but this time I used another resource. I don't know if you know about MCAT Bros.
Yeah, we did it together at some point.
Right?
I think, right?
Yes, I forgot about that. Yes. So I hired his services, and he was great. I think that was a huge key part of my improvement on the next attempt. I took it. So I took it on June the first time. Then I took it on January 2022 the next year, 2022 2021, and that's when I got I'm lost.
Yeah, because it was 2021 when you were taking it, right? The second one, or was it this year that you took it?
I think it's this year.
It could have been. Wow, that's
yes.
time flies.
Oh my God. Yeah. So it was January 2022 this year. I retook it and I got the 498.
Yep. Yeah.
And that gave me a better chance. I applied early. Applications opens on May. So I already got like some of my experiences written down on the application site on ACOMAS. And I just had to, I changed my personal statement on that second cycle. I improved my MCAT score. So it was just putting all of those things in, and, you know, that got me a few interviews.
Yeah. Right.
And that 498, I just improved 6 points. And I thought, I was kind of disappointed because, again, I wanted to get that 500, but it was like, hey, you try your best. And on that second attempt, I had a really bad day. Like, I had to go to Macon, and I stayed in a hotel over there, and I didn't sleep well. I woke up very early with an anxiety attack. Yeah, so that was a really big part. I couldn't eat breakfast. Around 11 a.m. I got a headache. That day we had technological difficulties. They were doing an update or something, and my exam started at 10 instead of 8 a.m.
Oh no.
So it was just a lot of things happened that day. And me being able to improve 6 points, I was like, okay, I'm going to take it, you know?
Yeah.
It's not what I wanted, but that day wasn't the best. So I'll take this improvement. And, you know, it got me 3 acceptances so far. So.
Yeah. See, I heard the first one, but so, yeah, tell me about the acceptances.
The first one was Arkansas College of Osteopathic Medicine. The second one was with Dubuque College of Osteopathic Medicine in Tennessee. And the third one with Pecan in South Georgia.
You got the Pecan one.
Yeah.
Look at that. You got it. So what's the choice now? Is that something that we could tell?
Yeah, I guess. I'm choosing Pecan. You know,
right.
That was my goal since the beginning. Thanks to a student from Pecan, that's how I learned about osteopathic medicine in Georgia State. I didn't know about osteopathic medicine. This is not known in Puerto Rico. I don't think there are any DOs in Puerto Rico at all.
No, they just have 2 MD schools, or maybe 1 MD school. I know
2.
Yes, okay.
2
I know one of them.
Yes, one in Ponce where I was born.
Yes, I know that one.
Ponce Medical School, and one Ciencias Médicas, Recinto Ciencias Médicas. That's another one. But yeah, they don't have DO schools, and they don't have DO physicians at all, like in Puerto Rico practicing like osteopathic medicine.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any there. So my long-term goal would be, you know, bring a DO school to Puerto Rico, hopefully.
Oh,
maybe I'm saying too much. Cut that part out. I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
No, knock on some wood. There you go.
Yeah.
No, but that's a big part, right? 3 acceptances. First cycle, you didn't get any, right?
Nothing.
You didn't get an interview.
No interview, anything.
And then the second one with a 498.
498.
Right? Like, but what the difference it seems like you made was you just started at the medical assistant facility.
Well, that was already on my first application.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So really it was the MCAT score that
the MCAT and the personal statement.
Okay. Yep.
Yes. It was the same story, but the way I told it, it was a little bit different. And I reach out for help for people that are very good with technical writing and stuff. Yeah. And they help me out with like, okay, Tatiana, this is the best way that you can like rephrase what you're trying to say so you can make a better impact, you know? Oh, okay. So that helped me out a lot. And what else? I think that was it. Yeah, that's the only changes.
That's so crazy. That you know, people think that when you retake it, or not just retake the MCAT, but reapply, you got to go through a bunch of things. And then people even think that if they decline you or don't give you anything, it's harder to get on the second cycle. And it's like that.
I think it's even easier.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because you know how to like navigate through the application process.
I think a lot of people just give you false information. People give false information because I've noticed the other way. I'm like, no, it's been a drastic impact when you apply the second time.
And I don't think it's so much false information. I think it's so much like their experience. Maybe that was their experience, you know? Yeah. But I think we all have our own path, and you just gotta try it and find out for yourself.
Yeah, you don't have a choice, right? It's more consistency, right?
Just like we were saying.
What was different about your personal statement this time?
Like I say, the way I told my story. In the first one, I was focusing a lot on my grandma. This time I focus more on my struggle in changing, like in moving from Puerto Rico to United States, and how I used to struggle, and I was able to thrive in many different ways. You know, I perform very well academically. I did pre-soma. Yep. I worked with an osteopathic physician, and I also, since I knew that I was only going to apply to osteopathic medicine, osteopathic schools, I tailor it more to osteopathic medicine, why I wanted to be a DO. Yep. And I think that also made a difference.
Yeah, and that's such a huge part, right?
Yeah.
And you made that chapter, right, at Georgia State? Were you the one?
Yes, I started it.
And so one of my friends told me that it was funny. He goes to UGA. He was my best man at my wedding. And he goes, you know what? He's like, screw all this. He says, I'm just going to make my own club instead of competing to become a AMSA.
Yeah.
Like, and so I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, just make your own club.
That's what you got to do.
And then he says, imagine what's going to happen when you apply somewhere. And I'm like, this guy's breaking some rules, but in a good way.
Yes, that's, I mean, the pre-soma club, it was in all my interviews. Like all interviews asked me about it. What was I able to, make it official,
right,
without knowing anything about leadership, because I had no leadership experience before.
Yeah, no, it's such a huge part because when you start up a chapter, I mean, what does it show to the admissions committee? It shows that you started up a whole new one.
Yeah.
And people don't understand, like, I know AMPS is a big one that a lot of people talk about. It's kind of focused towards MD, but not, it's everybody.
Yeah.
At least at Kennesaw, it was a little bit different because they were, it was very competitive, right? And I was like, that's fine. But I transferred over there and it was my last year of college over there, or like, really, I only had 2 years left and it's kind of hard to not do that unless you're a freshman. So I was like, I said the same thing to my friend. I was like, man, screw this, I'm going to go ahead and make this chapter. And it made a huge difference on applications and
yeah. And I think in your own experience, you learn a lot about yourself and all the things that you can do and how you can bring people together.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a big difference though, which I appreciate from that perspective.
Definitely.
Now, what is pre-soma? So for people that don't understand what it is.
Sure. Pre-soma, let's just start with what it stands for. It's basically Pre-Student of Osteopathic Medicine Association. And basically we're just trying to spread the awareness about osteopathic medicine. At least that's the goal with the chapter at Georgia State University. Because I feel like a lot of students were like me, they just don't know about osteopathic medicine. And just putting that option out there, like it is, you become a physician just like an MD, but you also learn a little bit more, which is about the osteopathic manipulations. And I think that's a great resource to have because all you need is your hands. And it's, reliable, affordable. You can use it anywhere. So I think it's a great skill to have.
Yeah, again, like it's such a big part of people not understanding that versus MD versus DO, right? I mean, before we go into that, you and I know that. Yeah. But some of the people who are listening, they may not know even the difference. DO is more of a holistic review of the patient. Whereas MD is more of the allopathic, they're looking at symptoms and how to treat that versus DOs.
How to alleviate symptoms. And DOs try to more like, okay, what's causing the symptoms? Let's get rid of the cause.
Preventative. Yeah. How to prevent from doing that, or where did the source come from?
Yes.
And it's two different philosophies, but people like to compare. They say MD's better because you get more resident choices. Yes. But they're working on that, right? As DOs,
I think,
to look at that better.
I'm not sure where it's that now, but I think the residencies for MD and DOs, they merge. I think now you have kind of same opportunities. But I did learn recently that some residency programs don't accept DO students.
Yes. Yeah. And I've noticed that some DOs have to take the MD.
The USMLE?
Yes. And so because of that, that's how they get into the residencies with the MDs. But it's crazy that they have to go through another hurdle. But it shows that DOs have more practice.
Exactly.
Theoretically, like on paper, again, it's the doctor at the end of the day that makes the difference.
For me, both are good,
Yeah, exactly. It's really just what you make out of it.
And depending on what you want, because if you don't want to use the manipulations on the type of medicine that you're going to practice, then it's okay if you go with the MD route. It all depends on what you want. Yeah. But for me, my example, I see myself as a maybe family medicine doctor or sports medicine, where I see myself using OMM a lot. So I'm like, yes, I want to do DO. So it's a personal thing, I think.
It is. It has to be, right? And some people think about it in the way where they don't get an MD, so they apply to DO.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, I understand where you're coming from because DOs do have historically lower MCAT scores, right? I mean, that's kind of what they are, but what is the reason for that is because of what they look at your whole application.
But let me ask you about this. What about the MDs that go to the schools in Mexico or in the Caribbean? They don't need an MCAT.
Exactly.
And then they become here to do their residency, and they're an MD, and they don't have an MCAT.
They don't.
So I think MCAT is irrelevant some point.
Yeah.
Like it cannot it cannot define you. Definitely, it doesn't define you at all.
Yeah, it's hard, right, for people to hear that. When people used to tell me that, when I was on that path, they would say it doesn't define you, and I'm like, well, tell that to the medical schools,
right.
And then we'll talk, But you're right. It's like people let it take it over, right? It's their first journey and really struggling. The MCAT's a very hard thing to do. So when they do that, they don't understand that you need to take it easy.
Yeah.
Because pre-meds are like that. Pre-meds are competitive. We talk about that. How many times do we talk about that?
Yes.
The field in general is just hard. Same for nurses. There's just so many ways to be competitive, but it's more of trying to be helping each other.
That's the only way to get through, in my opinion. From what I've heard in my interviews with the medical schools, is that they have a very supportive environment, and I'm hoping that's the reality. Once I get there, because it's a tough path, and just going through that, and also have to compete with your classmates. At least for me, it's not my style. I'm just gonna go there willing to help everybody and willing to accept all the help that people can give me, hoping that nobody has bad intentions on making me learn the wrong material. But I don't know why people are like that, honestly. Yeah. I feel like when you have a support system and when people come together, just great things happen, and everything is just easier. Yeah, no,
guaranteed, hands down. That's exactly how it should be. So my question is more of, how did you do it? Like, how did you actually go through all this without your family? Because knowing me, like I'm that situation. I have that situation where it's very hard for me to be separated from my family, and that they live here. So
Gotcha.
It's good. But for you, you did it all.
I see what you're saying. So I became independent when I was 17 years old. So right after graduating high school, I left my parents' home. So I felt independent at a very young age.
Right.
Even though I made some mistakes when I first did that, I always felt like I was on my own and I needed to find my own path. So when I came to Georgia, missing them was harder, because when I used to miss them in Puerto Rico and I was living on my own, I could just take the car and drive to their house.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Missing them here was more like, oh my God, I have to buy a ticket, an airplane ticket. It's so expensive. And if I go visit them, mom is working, dad is working, they won't have time to spend with me. Or I'm in school right now, I have to study, I cannot visit them. So emotionally, it was a struggle. The first 2 years were very difficult, and spending Christmas without them was very, very challenging. And it was just difficult. And then I always had my brother, and I always had my husband there with me too. My parents also made the time to visit us at least once a year. So that was like kind of enough for me to recharge and, continue without being with them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But that's a hard thing to do, right?
It is. I miss them every day. Honestly, right. I wish they were here, but my mom taking care of her mom, it's very difficult for her to be here. She wants to take care of her. So it's sad to say, but until she passes away, she won't be moving here anytime soon.
Yeah. That was a hard part for us too. It's, again, there's so much that you can do, like for your family members, and until that time happens, where they pass away, it's very difficult. But you can't do anything until that point, exactly. Which is hard, yes. But it's either that or you drop them off to a nursing home where you don't know where they're going.
My mom, she's been thinking about taking my grandma to a nursing home, because at this point, my grandma doesn't walk. So she's in a bed right now. And it's very difficult, to give her a bath and move her. She's heavy. She barely eats. So I think we're going to get to a point where she has to be fed through a tube, through the nose. So I think that type of care is a little bit different and complicated. So absolutely. Just for the, for my grandma, it's better for her to be like a nursing home where people know how to take care of her.
Yeah. And it's a medical part, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's and it's not like you're gonna, it's not like my mom is gonna abandon her. Like I'm telling mom, Mom, you go to their home every day. You're gonna go to their nursing home every day. You're gonna make sure they're taking good care of her. You're gonna make sure they have everything they need to, take good care of her. So she needs time to rest, definitely, because it's taking a toll on my mom, definitely.
Yeah, it's a mental and physical. That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
She comes back from, God bless her, but she comes back from work and she's continuously working. She's just clocking out,
Exactly.
And
she works like, I don't know, maybe 16 hours a day.
That's
and
insane.
then the other 8 is like just sleeping, and that's it.
Sleeping, cooking, and helping out, whatever she can. So yeah, it's rough.
No time for her.
Yeah. And my mom was the same way with my grandma. It was like, at some point there's only so much you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But what else? What else can you do? Is like,
yeah,
you have to make a decision eventually.
Exactly.
And that's where the medical part comes in.
Yeah,
it's like, that's where I can see people can make that decision. Like, I know a lot of people who are in that same boat.
And I think it's like slowly helping her understand that if she makes that decision, it's not a bad one. Like, you're not a bad person because you're making that decision. You're not abandoning your family.
Right.
So she's slowly like accepting that.
Yeah. And at some point they have to.
They have to.
But they're foreigners.
And I want to enjoy my mom. I don't want to lose her trying to take care of her mom. I want to be able to enjoy her.
Yeah.
So I have to take care of her too. And this is my way. Like, mom, you need help.
Yeah.
Let people help you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's huge. And so another thing that I wanted to bring up was, during the situation, was the years that you're going to go into medical school. Like, when you thought about it, like, what is some people don't know, what they're getting into. They get accepted and then they go in. And I've met some people who have gone through it. And then after that, maybe a year, they drop out, right? Because they don't know how much that goes into medical school. So like, what is how are you preparing to like understand, that it's going to be like that. You have to make some sacrifices, but it's worth it,
Yeah, that's just the way I see it, because time is going to pass anyway.
Yep.
I'm going to be 38 anyway.
Yeah.
I'd rather be 38 and a doctor than 38 and nothing.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
So I don't think time bothers me a lot. Like, I don't think about that, if I'm being honest. And I like studying. I don't know if that's something weird. I just like I like staying busy.
Yeah.
And I know for sure this profession is gonna keep me busy.
Yeah.
So I'm like looking a little bit forward to it.
That's good. I mean, you have to look forward to something. I'm sure at some point you'll take those words back, but in a good way.
Yeah. I think I'm too relaxed right now, and that's why I'm saying it.
Exactly. Well, I mean, like the gap years that you're in right now is perfect. That's exactly what you need. You need to rest, chill for a little bit, and then when you get to it, you'll be ready for it.
Exactly. Hopefully.
Some people I know go straight, like, they don't even take the gap year.
I don't know how they do it. Yes.
I don't know how they do it, but there's got to be some burnout rate.
In one of my interviews, I met a medical student, first year. She's like 21-year-old. I'm like, wait, what? You're 21? No, and it was her second year. My bad. And you're on your second year of med school. Oh, so you're just graduating straight to med school, right? Like, I think some people just know when they start college that they want to become a physician.
Sure.
So they start from the beginning, you know? I wasted 3 semesters. Those 3 semesters that I did at the beginning, they didn't count for nothing. Nothing at all. So that's some time that it took me to, like, okay, process what I want to do with my future. So, but some people are not like that. And it's amazing to see people like that. I think it's impressive.
It is impressive, yeah. But it also is, like, from your perspective, you have to, I hope that you can see that as those 3 semesters, still you got some experience out of that, no matter what you got. Before you got into all these biology prerequisites and these killer classes, organic chemistry, you were able to take these 3 classes and kind of understand the system.
Yes,
right?
Yes. I don't think I would have made it without that.
Exactly. So for you, you're right. Like, everybody's chapter is different. But for yours, it made a huge difference that you took those 3 semesters before you started taking all these classes.
Definitely.
Whereas that other girl, people have resources, right? Like, who knows about what that girl is? I'm glad for her, by the way.
Yeah,
That's great.
Like, happy for her.
But there are people out there who have those resources, and that's such a huge part of, like, what I am trying to, like, bring out the message towards. Like, you may not have those resources, but you can find them.
Yeah.
And one of them is that example of, like, that MCAT you were talking about. MCAT Bros.
Yes.
Right? Raj is the guy.
Yes.
So if you guys, I mean, we should get an endorsement deal from this.
Yeah.
So for promoting it,
Yeah.
But that MCAT Bros, he was so great because
I like it.
He charged a fourth of what people, like, went for Princeton and all these other things, and then he really helps you, like, 24/7.
And I think the big thing from them is, like, the schedule that they give you, and they take the time. Well, he takes the time to talk to you and see, okay, what are your struggles, what are your strengths? Okay, so if these are your struggles, let's focus on them a little bit. But something I like about him, he taught me to focus on my strengths. Because I think when you focus so much on your weaknesses, your strengths get a little bit weak in a way.
Yeah.
So focus on your strengths, focus on what you know, and try to master that. And I did that. Like I told you, I didn't study for physics. For the second attempt, I was like, how many questions I'm gonna get for physics? Maybe top 8 or 10. If I miss them, so what? I'm like, no, I'm moving on from physics. I hate physics. Yeah. So that's what I did. I focused on biology, psychology, because with psychology, it's a subject that I know, but there's a lot of names.
Yeah.
And definitions. And it's a lot of memorization, and you can get confused with them. So I was like, okay, let me focus on that because I have a little bit of an idea, but let me master it, you know? So that's what I did, and it helped me a lot.
Yeah,
honestly.
no, it's because I remember you telling me that the second time you took it. I think the MCAT owner, Raj, he was saying that. He was saying, you know what, screw physics. And I was like, Tatiana, what are you saying to me right now? Because you said that. And I was thinking, there's no way. And then you were showing me the probability of you getting those questions. Yeah. The physics questions or like organic chemistry.
It was like an eighth or something like that.
Yeah. And I was like, damn, that is such a good point. So like that's why he's that guy is smart. He's knows strategic. Yeah. He knows exactly the experience and he knows what's going on, because the MCAT, you're right. It's like, it's not about knowledge. It's really just about how you can take the test. Yes. And people hear that and they don't really understand. Like, it doesn't stick to their brain until you start looking at what's going on.
Or until they take it for the first time and they fail.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just like happened to me. Yeah.
So it's like, that's so huge, because the MCAT, people don't understand that. Yes, it's strategic, but you really have to find out what your strengths are and try to, I mean, this is different for everybody, but if you can find your strength and just maximize it as much as possible. Yes. That's really unique.
It's gonna get you through.
Yeah. I mean, fundamentals first, right? Yes. Fundamentals and then go from there.
I mean, yeah.
Fundamentals, then maximize on what you see. Like, you know, if your car section is amazing, go with that.
Exactly.
If your car section is amazing, whoever's it is, I commend them.
Oh my God, yes. For me, it was bad.
Yeah, mine was horrible.
It's just reading, so it's just like, it's too much reading.
Oh, it's crazy.
And the questions are like, what?
Well, English is, in a way, it's complex. If you look at other languages, it doesn't match anything. For anybody who's understanding like what we're saying to listeners, if you speak a different language, there's different grammar techniques to it.
Oh, yes.
But if you look at English, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it really doesn't. So that's why when they have cars, I think about like how people, you know, when you take it, for instance, somebody who has a different language, that's not fair. It really is. It is,
yeah, because sometimes they try to make you picture a scenario, and sometimes I don't know the word. Like, I don't know what that word, I don't know what that is, you know? Like, exactly. I can picture what you're trying to make me picture. Yeah, exactly. So it was a challenge, definitely. That's the one that I really, instead of focusing on physics, I focus a lot more on reading. Like, trying to read and understand what are they trying to tell me, so I could like do good on that part too, because that was tough.
Did you just do like cars like from the MCAT books, or did you find like New York's best times and read that? Like, what was your situation?
Let me think about that. I think I did Jack Westing.
Jack Westing.
Yeah, he does a passage, one passage per day.
Yes.
So I did those, and I also had I bought a book. I really don't know the title.
Yeah.
I bought a book, but I read some passages there too, and some from the AMC website.
Yep. Jack Weston's is a great one. Another endorsement deal we should get. So let's get a check out of that. But yeah, so Jack Weston was great, because there was just one day every day you would do a cars passage, and you could do more.
And I used him for other subjects too, like psychology, biology, and it's a good way to test your fundamentals.
Yep.
And
correct.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was good.
And it's free.
Free resource. That's so big, right? I think people spend so much money on it. Like I did. Like that was such a regret. But
you did?
I couldn't even tell you before I like go all off on here. Yeah, like I spent like a good amount of money, and it was just like, if you just spend $500 on Raj's MCAT Pros, you'd be all set. Yeah. Even if you don't have $500, he has all the resources you need, and so does Jack Weston and these places. You can get all of them from AAMC's website. And I don't know if you use that, but there's a fee assistance program. Did you?
I did for the first attempt.
Yeah. Okay.
I qualified for it, but for the second time I didn't. But I think because of COVID, they gave some kind of help, and that helped me like to have those resources for a bit. And you helped me to have them, because mine expired and you still have yours. So I asked permission to you.
Exactly.
There was use yours.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a legality there, but probably not. But yeah, so but that was the big part, right? So fee assistance, like to explain to everybody what does it help with when you're taking the MCAT or applying to medical school?
Well, for the MCAT, I think it gives you a 50% off on the exam fee. So I think you have to pay $130 instead of the $300, and then it gives you all the resources they have, all the study materials. They give you access to all that for free.
Gotcha. Okay. And then I know for medical school, like MDs specifically, they give you 14 free schools.
That's true. Yes.
Remember that?
It's just I didn't apply to MD school, so I didn't use it. But yes, they give you a few free applications. Yeah.
They need to do that.
I don't know how many though. But
yeah. They give you 14 from what I know. Okay. You can apply to 14 schools. That's a lot of schools.
That's a lot.
Because each school is, I know it's different, but like each school can go to $75. And then you got secondaries.
Yes.
Right. And that's even more. But from what I understand, it takes away the primary for the first 14 schools. And then if they ask you for secondary money for the secondary application, you can tell them, hey, I have this waiver, and they'll waive it too.
Yes.
That's what I did.
Yes, I remember that too, because some DO schools, I think there's a fee assistance program for ACOMAS, but I didn't apply for it, so I don't know much about it.
Yep.
But some DO schools, they were asking me for that program.
Yes, yeah.
And, I didn't qualify for it, but if you do qualify for it, I think they waive the secondary fee application.
Yeah, DOs do a different one. I know they give you I think the first 2 schools because they're a low in funding.
Okay, yeah.
But they also have a fee assistance program when you go through their ACOMAS?
I believe so.
ACOMAS,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So I applied for that, and I did like PCOMs and a few other ones. But they also do that, but I just wish there was a little bit higher. I know that they don't get that much funding because they're still working on it. But from what I understand is that the MDs and DOs, like they both try to get as much for those people. But I think it's below, every year it changes, but I think this year it's like 28,000 that you can, your income has to be in order to get that.
I really
something
don't.
like that. I know you don't.
I use my parents' income for that I remember. I used my parents' income for that one because at that time I wasn't married, so I could use them.
Smart.
Yeah, but then I got married and I was like, oh well.
Then you got married and now you got money problems. So.
Yeah, not really, but yeah. I cannot get those
exactly.
type of helps. Yeah.
Yeah, which is so unfortunate because people.
It's not like a millionaire,
Yeah,
like I could use the help.
Sure. Yeah. But like when you buy a house and everything, and for anybody whoever does that, who gets married and they go through all this, it's a loss, right? Technically, but you can't put that, like when you put it on taxes, they're not going to look at it that way. And I'm like, come on, guys. Let's work together. And they need your parents' taxes, and I'm like, sometimes that's not available. Like if you're an independent, right on your own, that doesn't apply. But
well, it's funny because it applied for me.
It
for the AMC, yes, it did.
I think it all depends on your income. So like if you're an independent and let's say you make like 15,000 below, or
gotcha,
below the average.
That probably was it.
Yeah. So, and for the most part, you should be. But like, let's say somebody who's non-traditional. Which is like probably somebody who's listening to this podcast is maybe they're all like 40 years old, 50 years old or something like that. And they're already in a career. Yes. And they're making a little bit above. It doesn't take much to go above that. It does, but it doesn't, But if you're making like a little bit more, let's say you're making 35,000 and the cutoff is 30,000. Well, now you don't apply.
Exactly.
And you're non-traditional, but they're all free resources either way, wherever you go for the MCAT. So
yes. There's always options.
Those Jack Weston ones, MCAT Pros, those are like the best ones. I would like say don't go to anywhere else really if that's the case.
Yeah, I don't think you need that much, honestly. I think my recommendation would be if you actually have to like spend money, you spend it on the AMC resources. Yep. They're the ones that make the exams. So I think that's the best resource to use.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I like that a lot actually, because those books that I use like Kaplan and Princeton, Exam Crackers,
I honestly didn't read them. I bought the Princeton review. I read them for the first attempt, but I didn't do that well. So for the second attempt, I didn't use them at all. Yeah. I just did the AMC material and the Jack Westing, and that got me through.
And look at that, you got a 6-point difference.
And Khan Academy.
Khan Academy.
Oh my God, how can I forget Khan Academy?
And I don't know if you saw that, but they were going to close it down.
But they didn't.
Yeah,
they didn't.
Thank goodness for everybody else who's not using it.
Yeah, that's a huge resource.
Huge,
big one.
Yeah, they have everything you need, literally, like anything you.
And the questions their questions are hard. So if you get those questions, you're gonna ace the MCAT, honestly.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it's huge to get that point.
Yep.
But so let's get off a little bit topic instead of this MCAT stuff. You said you like dancing.
I do.
Now I'm a dancer too. So,
yeah, but I'm shy too.
Well, that's how I think I say I am, but Savannah, my wife, says I'm not.
Okay.
And I'm not sure like how that, on the wedding day, like I was pretty out and about.
I
was
saw
there.
a few videos.
Oh, I'll show you some more
Yeah,
when we
okay.
get off. But it's pretty good. So like what is your like go-to dancing? Like
So there's a thing I say in Spanish. Let me see if I can get it in English right. This is like my frustrated goal or my frustrated dream, something like that. Like mi sueño frustrado in Spanish for those who understand.
Okay.
And it's be like a choreography dancer.
Oh,
like I
okay,
like
okay.
choreography.
Yep.
And recently I found this group in Decatur. It's called Rumbera, and they meet every Tuesday, and it's only a girls group.
Okay.
And they meet every Tuesday, and they do choreography dancing, like reggaeton and Latin music.
Okay.
So I really enjoy that a lot. It's just get my body moving, and it's just kind of like expressing myself. It's just kind of like a therapy.
Yeah.
So I enjoy it a lot, but like I said, I'm a little bit shy, and I never did that as a young girl. I was a volleyball player actually since I was 6 years old, and I was a lot like I was very, very into that. When I was in high school, I used to play for like the school team and also for a private club team. So I was in a volleyball court Monday through Friday, and I didn't have the opportunity to explore other sports or arts, or I was just like volleyball. That's it. And my brother, he was a baseball player, but when he became a teenager around 17, 18, he started dancing with a group, and his best friend, he's actually a dancer since he was a kid. And I think that's where everything started from. And my brother is someone I look up to a lot, and I want to do everything that he does. So I saw him dance, and I was like, I want to do that too.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So now I found this group here in Decatur, and I join them now and then. I just enjoy moving my body, I guess.
That's a good way to kind of stress relieve too, right?
I think that's why I like working out too.
Yep, that's a good point. Yeah, and so you I remember you did that for a while, where you had like a full fitness channel.
Yeah,
it's like on social media. So what was that about? Like, how did you go through that?
So I found this Beachbody program, and I don't know if we can say that. This is another advertisement, free advertisement. But yeah, I found this Beachbody platform, and at first I was just using it for myself, but I saw how it's kind of helpful for people that are starting to get into that lifestyle of exercising and have a balanced nutrition.
Right.
It's 30-minute workouts, which is very short. Some people spend about 1 hour, 2 hours in the gym. That's something I couldn't do at that moment when I discovered that, because I was still at Georgia State University, and I spent most of my day studying, so I couldn't spend 1 hour or two working out. Right. And for me, that was the best option. And they have these little color-coded containers. I think I talked to you about them. And with those bowls, I was able to like balance my nutrition, and I saw huge changes in about a month. And just the way I felt, it was amazing, honestly. Yeah. And I wanted to share that with other people. It was just something that worked really well for me, and that I know that it could work really well for other busy people because of the short workouts. Like I was saying, it's only 30 minutes that you have to work out. And for me, spending 1 hour or 2 hours in a gym, that wasn't an option. It's just too much time. And I had to study, like I had other priorities. So for me, that program, like that platform, made me find a good balance with like my healthy lifestyle of getting my nutrition in and workouts in, and also finding time to study and do what I had to do to get closer to my goal of becoming a physician and applying to medical school. So I also saw the opportunity during that time. COVID hit. So we were in the middle of the pandemic. I was studying from home full time. My job, Old Navy at the time, I was a little bit, I guess, over it. I didn't want to do it anymore. I want to try something new. That's something about me. When I get to do something every day, I just get bored. I like doing different things. That's just who I am. And with this business opportunity, I saw that I could do that, and I would run my own business, and I would try to like recruit people. So I could help them, get into that healthy lifestyle. And it worked for a few months, and I even was getting a little bit of money out of it. I really liked it, and I enjoyed, because I was having meaningful conversation with people about their lifestyle and about even their emotional struggles on how to like just get them to do a workout, just how to start working out, like how do I press play, like how do I and people struggle mentally a lot, and just having that opportunity to help them overcome that struggle and those own personal limitations, it felt great. But then I was still a student, and during the summer I was taking physics 1 and endocrinology. And my grades were a little bit affected because I was like dedicating a lot of time to the business. And because I had to create my own content for Instagram, I had to record videos, and I had to spend time like editing the videos and, doing a lot of stuff. And that took some time out of me studying. And obviously I saw that on my final grades. And for the next semester, which I was going to have a full-time semester, I was going to have 5 classes. I was like, my priority is becoming a doctor. Yeah. And I talked to my husband and I said, hey, Ellis, I think, because I quit Old Navy. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I quit Old Navy and I did the coaching full time, hoping that it was going to bring some money to the house. But then for that semester, I think around September, I was like, Ellis, honestly, I don't think I can continue with this, because it's just I need time to study and it's not working out for me. So I stopped doing it, but I still use the platform though nowadays. Yeah, right. Yes, like I still use it. Like I said, I like it. It's short and sweet. You get in, you get out, you do your workout in 30 minutes, and it's very like high intensity, so you get to sweat. And that's how it was. And since I was a volleyball player as a little kid, I think fitness has been involved in my life somehow. Yeah.
Right. No, that's a good point that you make. The way you bring it up, it makes sense.
My mentor started med school when he was, I think, 30 years old.
Yeah. The pain management. Yeah. So the pain management doctor that you were working with. Yes. So it's crazy, right? It's like that it doesn't make a difference of where you start. It's just how you finish it.
And I had so many like anxiety attacks throughout my journey, and so many stressful moments. And I think I even restricted myself of enjoying certain experiences because I was just focusing on studying. Right. And yes, you gotta put the effort in, but just make sure you take some time for yourself as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because life is only one, and you never know what's gonna happen the next day. So just make sure you're enjoying life as well.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's something that I wish I could have done better. Dedicate more time to the family and friends, reach out to more people, and not stress about a C or a B, like it's fine. It's okay. It's just a grade. It doesn't define you. Yeah. It doesn't define the good doctor that you can be, or whatever it is whatever goal you have in life. On the contrary, I think failures are amazing. They teach you the most.
They do. They teach you so much. Yeah. Well, again, thank you for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
No, of course. This is a big part. This is your first podcast, and we can kind of go from there. But people hopefully can see the difference of like where you come from and kind of take that into their own advice, Yeah. So hopefully if anybody wants to reach out to you, where could they reach out to if they wanted to?
Yes, yeah. My Instagram is tat.jr. Like Tat for short, for Tatiana.
Perfect.
I don't know my email. Should I give my email?
You can.
I don't know. My email is tjrv10@gmail.com. If you have any questions regarding MCAT application, osteopathic medicine, I'm a big person in osteopathic medicine. Yep. I have to emphasize that. So if anybody has any questions about that, please feel free to reach out. I love helping people.
Of course. No, thank you again, Tatiana. Thank you.